Hello, my name is Mike Ward. I'm the Global Director of Content in Forma Pharma Insights, the publishers of Scrip and The Pink Sheet. I'm here at BioEurope Spring, which has been held in Barcelona, and this is a meeting where pharmaceutical companies, biotech companies and investors all get together to discuss potential transactions, but also to actually look at the what are the industry trends, what's hot and what's not. One of the things that actually is hot or has been hot for the past few years is around immunotherapy and particularly around areas like regulatory T cells. These actually have been around for some time. In fact, I'm joined by Stephane Boissel, who's the CEO of a company called TxCell that actually has been in the regulatory T cell space for, since your foundation in 2001, but the company has evolved over the years as the science has evolved. Could you describe what your focus is now?
Sure. So yes, the company was started like 15 years ago, and the first generation of product that were antigen-specific Tregs, so regulatory T cells, naturally antigen-specific. And in the last 2 years, we've shifted the focus, the R&D focus of the company, to a new generation of product, still Treg-based, still antigen-specific Tregs, but the antigen specificity is going to come from a CAR that we are going to introduce into the Treg. So compared to the first generation of product, this generation is more like gene editing or gene edited cell therapy product than the first, which was, let's say, natural cellular immunotherapy.
So could you explain, what was the aha moment that made you change direction?
Well, that was always going to be the goal, but things got accelerated because we had some manufacturing problem with the first platform. Right. And the manufacturing issues that we had to do with the very nature of the technology we were working on. And those issues happened like 2 years ago, and really that accelerated the move that, as I said to you, eventually we were going to make, because the solutions that are offered today by the technologies that are available for gene editing, for example, make this platform much more attractive in terms of its potential compared to the first generation platform.
Right. And so do you see yourselves as a technology provider, or are you actually intending to develop your own product?
No, we are developing our own product. So definitely we are a drug developer.
Okay. And so what areas are you focusing on initially?
Unlike most of the peers in cellular immunotherapy, we work in autoimmunity and inflammatory disorders, because this is where we believe regulatory T cells are the best used today, okay? Since their properties is to inhibit what we call inflammatory processes. So we work in diseases such as Crohn, such as multiple sclerosis, such as RA, for example.
Right. And where are you actually in the development, therefore, of your portfolio?
So the first platform was validated in clinic, but this platform is now on hold, given the manufacturing constraint I told you about before. And so now with the new platform, we are at a preclinical stage, and we expect to start a first-in-man in 2018, so next year, which will be first ever. Nobody has ever done it before. So we are looking forward to this milestone with a lot of excitement.
Right. So what have you shown so far that actually makes you confident that actually moving into man is a positive step?
Okay, so we know first that technically we can insert with an antivirus a CAR into a Treg. We know we can do it technically. We know that by doing so we don't change the phenotype of the Treg. So a Treg stays a Treg, and it does what a Treg is expecting to be doing. Okay, and we start also to have some preliminary proof of concept in what we call clinically relevant mice model that we can do something to the inflammation.
Right. And the developments that you've had so far, how have they been funded, and this next phase in your development, how is that financed?
So we are publicly listed in France, we are listed on Euronext. We've raised a little north of 70 million euros since the beginning of the company, and today we are financed at least for 2017, and we have just recently closed a financing that, if everything goes well, if the stock goes up on the back of good news in 2017, should give us enough money to go at least up until the first IND of the first CAR-Treg program that I mentioned to you which is expected sometimes next year.
Right.
And then we will need to find financing for the clinical proof of concept, and that will come either from the market or from partnering, because we are looking actively at doing partnering deals.
And at what stage do you think you'd be able to attract a partner?
Mice data is enough, and we are currently having some initial discussion. I know exactly what we are missing actually today to really enter into a more serious, let's say, deal discussion, and this is what I'm trying to do today.
And you sort of say that you're looking at sort of inflammatory and autoimmune diseases.
Absolutely.
Is there a specific disease or number of diseases that you anticipate at the moment the IND will be focused on?
The first-in-man study is going to be in solid organ transplantation, so inflammatory disorder created by solid organ transplantation. But the idea with the first-in-man will be really to validate the whole concept, the whole platform. So we've selected an indication for which first we can go very quick to the proof of concept, and this is based on what we have today in terms of preclinical validation, and also the clinical setting that we can expect that within, let's say, 12 to 18 months after the start of the first-in-man can deliver what we need in terms of proof of concept. And what we need in terms of proof of concept is twofold. We need to show that we can control the inflammation, so limit the proliferation of CD8 pro-inflammatory T cells, and induce tolerance as well, which will be, of course, the ultimate goal for this kind of approach.
And what do you actually sort of foresee though? I mean, you sort of say, okay, these are what you need to show for proof of concept. But what is your biggest challenge in this heading towards the IND?
Well, hopefully my biggest challenge is behind me when we decided to move from the first generation to the new generation. Having said that, nobody has ever put the CAR-Treg in clinic, so we are going to start discussing with the regulatory authorities, US and Europe, as soon as this summer, to understand exactly what will be the requirement for the IND-enabling studies. But quite frankly, given what we've seen with the CAR-T so far, and given the likely safety profile of our product, we don't expect to have that many hurdles to go up to the first-in-man.
And do you anticipate doing it in parallel, both Europe and the US at the same time?
No, we will have to be. We'll have to decide, and quite frankly, very likely it could be in the US, simply because the FDA today has seen more of these kind of new technologies coming to a first-in-man study, and also because for us as a small company, we believe that conducting the first trial under US IND is going to be probably better from an investor viewpoint, but also from a pharmaceutical partner viewpoint.
So you mentioned about getting partners and saying that actually you're probably almost in a position that you could sort of sign up partners pretty soon.
Not yet there, but
what would you like a partner? If I was a pharmaceutical company, what would I have to be offering for you to want to do the deal?
Very simple. Medical expertise in fields we are going to develop the product in. We are a very small company. Something like 80% or 85% of the staff is in the labs, so we have very little bandwidth when it comes to medical and regulatory expertise. So again, we are the cellular therapy expert. We expect the pharmaceutical company to bring medical expertise and regulatory expertise.
Right. Okay. And you mentioned how you do have the ambition to be a drug development company. So sort of longer term, how do you sort of see sort of the company moving forward?
Very simple. Rare disease, we try to keep them for ourselves. On large disease for which there is a complex way to the market, a complex path to the market, like for example multiple sclerosis. I'm not going to go into clinical development in multiple sclerosis myself. So the idea will be to find a pharmaceutical partner who has a very good expertise in this field, because honestly a small company like ours cannot compete in such very complex indication at the clinical level.
Okay. And the next milestone is that the IND or is
No, 2017 we are expecting to see many different catalysts, preclinical validation of the platform in, as I was saying, clinically relevant mice model. Then 2018 the first-in-man study, and then 2020 the clinical proof of concept, which of course is the most important objectives in the next 2 to 3 years.
Great.
Okay.
Well, Stephane, thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Back. Right, thank you.